To answer start on how to make a gaming computer. We're going to teach you and Max here how to make a computer without buying an entire one. First, you're going to need something to keep all the pieces together. Well, that's what the case is here for. You see, instead of having everything apart and the DVD player is over there, the CPU is over there, and whoops, you accidentally stepped on the RAM. Well, because it was on the carpet. It's just one big mess, and the casing stops you from destroying all your parts and basically is the glue that holds it all together. But what is inside the casing? Well, it's time to put on those glasses and investigate the desktop. One of the major parts is the motherboard. Imagine this is a mini and smaller casing. A lot of tiny pieces and the functioning pieces are screwed into the motherboard, and this allows power and commands to reach them and basically makes the commands reach the brain computer really fast. And as I said earlier, there are many parts of the motherboard, and let's have a look. Now we go on to the most important parts of the computer. Imagine this is the center of the computer universe. The CPU. The CPU is the brain of the computer. It gives instructions to the other pieces when the commands you put in. Unfortunately, it still has to rely on other pieces to help it do commands, so it isn't exactly like our human brain. Imagine it as the person controlling a machine. It has to be told what he wants to do, and he makes it happen. Now, before Max explodes himself when he puts the CPU in, we need to make sure the CPU doesn't overheat because it works too much. We are going to use a CPU cooler, which allows us to keep the CPU under control. Keeping fans on is what stops explosions coming from computers. Now we're up to the storage, and there are two important storage devices, the SSD and the RAM. Now you may be wondering, what's the point of two storage devices when I can just have one? Well, let me explain it to you, because these twins won't like being called the same. The SSD is the memory of the computer, but where do we store the memory? Well, the RAM is the storage for all the commands and the memory SSD has. Another way to think about it is in the library, SSD is the books and the RAM is the shelves. And now we know the purpose of our storage devices. Our final motherboard piece is the gaming and graphics card. I know you have been waiting for this, and so I saved it to last. This is what allows you to play games, and this card is the only one that can read the game disc. So when you insert a gaming disc, your only hopes of playing it lies with Mr. Graphics Card. The better the card, the stronger the quality of your games. Now we have left the realm with the motherboard, but there are other parts of the computer that needs to function. Let's have a look. Our first non-motherboard piece is the DVD player. This is pretty simple. You press the button, the player comes out, you insert the DVD, and the device enters it in, and the graphics card reads it. The only part that actually is simple. But do you ever wonder how the computer ever has power? The obvious answer is the power plug. But there's a thing called the power supply, and this is where the power from the power plug comes in. And then the power supply inputs it into the motherboard and the CPU, which is pretty useful now. And now that we have a working computer, it's working really hard, and we need a way to cool it down. With fans placed inside the computer, it will cool down the parts and output the heat into the air. No wonder Max's computer hasn't exploded yet. Now that the desktop is finished, we have a strong parts like the motherboard and the power supply, where we can project our information to. That's where the accessories come in. The first two accessories you probably know are the keyboard and mouse, but the final one is called the monitor, which is the screen of your computer and is what projects the light onto the screen. Now that you know how to build a computer, if you end up like Max and only exploded once or twice, then you did well. Here are all the websites where Max learned to make a computer. Overall, you need the motherboard with its parts, the power supply and fans, and accessories like the monitor to project your information. Good work!